It is time, people. You hear that noise, you know what's about to go down. Mel Kiper Jr. has released his final mock draft for the 2026 NFL Draft. That takes place on April 23rd to the April 25th. He has the Cowboys trading up in the draft, sending the Browns the 12th and 20th pick in exchange for the 6th and 39th picks. Jeremiah Love is projected to go to the Titans at 4. And lastly, he has the Cardinals moving into the back end of round 1 to take Ty Simpson, the quarterback out of Alabama, with the 30th pick. Hello, Mel Kiper Jr. So good to see you here on First Take. Let's go to what the Cowboys should do, of course. Do you think the Cowboys should be trading up to take Sonny Styles? Man, it feels like this is the guy everyone in the NFC East wants. What do you think?
Jay, Big D has to stand for more than Dallas. Has to be defense, right? And a big splash is needed to get a guy who's a rare talent. He's a super blue chipper. His name is Sonny Styles. You're not going to get him at 12. You're going to have to move up to 6. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle. Doesn't make sense for Cleveland at 6, but makes sense at 12. Dallas would get back the 39th pick, which is an early second-round choice in this deal. So instead of 12 and 20, that'd be at 6 and 39. And Sonny Styles is exactly what this defense needs. Impactful. You can move him around, moving from safety to linebacker at Ohio State. Did a great job, keep improving game to game, and then had a rare workout in terms of physical and athletic talent. Dallas has to use a lot of picks on defense. It starts here. Then at 39, maybe get another edge rusher. But at Sonny Styles, you're not going to get him at 12. You're not going to get really any impactful player at that point unless things fall differently than I think. So Sonny Styles to move up to 6, to me, makes a ton of sense.
It does make a ton of sense, Mel. 446 speed, 43.5-inch vertical jump, 11-foot-2 broad jump. The brother's special, ain't no doubt about it. And a leader, by the way. Here's my question, Mel. How you gonna move up to get him? I mean, damn, everybody know you want him. Everybody knows how legit he is. How the Dallas Cowboys gonna move up to? What would you have to give up to get from 12 to 6 in the draft, Mel?
Yeah, the flip would be 12 up to 6, right? And then you give up 12 and 20, but you get back 39 from Cleveland. So really, it's 12 and 20 for 6 and 39 is what the trade actually becomes. Cleveland would be at the spot at 20, and they'd be at 24, okay? So they'd drop to 12. So they have 3 first-round draft choices, Cleveland would. Dallas would have that 6th pick to get the great Sonny Styles potentially, and then get a pick back, which will give them a second-round choice to address that defense. So to me, to get this type of player, now you get good players, okay players, decent players, but not elite. And if you're picking at 20, say, even at 12, who are you going to get at that point? You're not going to get a guy like this who's dynamic. He would have 13 more tackles than Arvell Reese this past season at Ohio State. He cut his missed tackles down dramatically from 2024 to 2025 to hardly any because he was adapting from safety to linebacker at Ohio State. You mentioned the talent. That's rare talent for Sonny Styles, and you can move him around. People say, well, Arvell Reese has to learn how to be a pass rusher. So would Sonny Styles. But as a guy who can be that chess piece and can chase down these fast quarterbacks in the NFL with his range and his speed and his instincts, Sonny Styles, you could make a strong argument that after Mendoza and Love, he's the 3rd best player in this draft and the best overall defensive player in this draft.
Now, I'm glad you went there because that's where I was going with you, Mel. Excuse me, Shay, for climbing in. I got my man Mel Kiper here. I got to capitalize on this moment right now because you know when we're talking about the draft, if I don't hear from Mel Kiper Jr., damn it, I didn't hear anything. I got to hear from Mel Kiper Jr. Now, Mel Kiper Jr. taught me many years ago, I don't give a damn how great a running back is. You shouldn't be thinking about taking a running back high in the draft. That's what I remember Mel Kiper Jr. teaching me. Yet it comes to Jeremiah Love, and everybody's talking about him. You just pointed out he might be the 2nd best player in the draft, but Mel Kiper Jr. taught me years ago, you really, really, really don't want to take a running back that high. That doesn't seem to be what you're saying this year, Mel Kiper Jr. Tell me why.
And I also taught the NFL because I came up with that philosophy 30 years ago, Stephen A. And then people were screaming at me saying, you're crazy, you're nuts. And I had rationale. There was a reason behind that philosophy. And then you got to adapt, right? Adapt or die, right? So these running backs became multidimensional. They became great receivers out of the backfield. Jeremiah Love could have been 84 instead of 4 and would have been a first-round pick. Same thing when Reggie Bush came out. These guys who could do so much in terms of catching the football and in that passing game and be a weapon beyond just a great running back and be a touchdown waiting waiting to happen, like Dorsett's 99-yard touchdown run on that Monday night against Minnesota. This kid can do that. So for Tennessee, I'd say that this is the way I laid it out today, Shay and Stephen A. I said for Tennessee, do you want Fred Warner, because that's the comp to Sonny Styles, heck of a player, great player, Hall of Famer, right? Or would you rather have Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, or Jahmyr Gibbs? That's what Jeremiah Love can be. So that's the debate going on in that front office with that coaching staff, GM, and all that. Those decision makers with the Tennessee Titans. I just think for Love and Cam Ward, pairing them together, Ward showed mid to late season he can be a big-time franchise quarterback. We saw evidence of that. Now you get Love, who can be a guy who can go slot and wide. He never fumbled at Notre Dame either. So factor it all in. I gave the slight edge to Love here, and that allowed Dallas to make that move up to get Sonny Styles, who was still on the board when Cleveland was up at pick number 6.
There's some high praise for these players. Look, Jeremiah Love, definitely someone who feels like he's consistently climbing up draft boards. So is someone like Ty Simpson. Now it sounds like he's going to go in the top 20 perhaps. Would you be surprised if he does go earlier in the first round or even late first round at this point?
I'd be surprised based on intel if he goes early to mid first round. So people are thinking, could he go at 13 to the Rams? Could he go at 16 to the Jets, right? Could he go at 21 to Pittsburgh? I think late first. You say, who's in the late first going to take him? Nobody. So you got to project that trade. You got to think that Mike LaFleur, since the Rams seem to like him a little bit, LaFleur coming from the Rams, would he go and make that move to get ahead of the Jets, who are at 33? If you like him and you're sitting at 34, you know the Jets, it could be in play. Simply because the Jets passed on him at 2 and 16 doesn't mean they'll pass on him at 33. History tells us that, right? So to me, jump the Jets, get into the late first round. Miami needs extra picks. I think they'd be willing. There's a lot of trades between 24 and 32. Plenty of those teams will be looking to move out. So you're going to have plenty of dance partners between 20 and 44 and 32. They'll be looking to make a deal for teams looking to jump in to get a Ty Simpson like Arizona, I think, could possibly do.
Mel Kiper Jr., far be it for me to cause trouble, because I never like to do that. I'm a man of peace. I never like to do that. I want to be nice, okay? But Dan Orlovsky went on the air a few weeks ago, and he said there isn't much of a difference between Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson. So 1 minute we're hearing that. Another minute we're hearing Ty Simpson could fall out of the first round. I'm thinking you're Pittsburgh at number 21. How could you pass up on the kid unless you believe in Will Howard? That's how I'm looking at it. Where does the truth lie, Mel Kiper Jr., as it pertains to Ty Simpson, particularly when you're talking about Pittsburgh at number 21?
First of all, Dano doesn't have to worry about anybody else, what they think. He doesn't have to worry about what teams are going to back him up. Just have an opinion, state it. Dano has an opinion. He's a former quarterback. He evaluates these guys tremendously well and states your case. You don't need to get backed up by somebody in the league that maybe agrees, or anybody in the media, or anybody that's an analyst, because Dan Orlovsky had that opinion. I had that same feeling about Shedeur Sanders last year. I still believe strongly in Shedeur and what he can do in Cleveland. So hold to it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Don't let anybody bully you. Ty Simpson, if he believes that, fine. I feel Ty Simpson back in mid-November, Stephen A. and Shay, would have been a top 10 pick. Nobody would have argued. Mid-November, he was 21 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Then he got banged up. Then he had the 5 straight games with a fumble loss. Then he fumbled the ball against Indiana when he was hit by Pons, caused the rib injury. So the bottom line is he had an offensive line that was up and down, inconsistent, not great. No running game, and receivers dropping the football. So for me, yeah, back in mid-November, that's 9, 10 games in, we were talking about top 10 for Ty Simpson. So what Dan Orlovsky said isn't out of the realm of possibility for any analyst think Ty Simpson could be right there. I just didn't see it when I looked at Mendoza. I think Mendoza's a cross between Peyton Manning and Matt Ryan. That's why I have such a high grade on the Indiana quarterback.
Right now, Mel Kiper, not to speak for you, but to say for you, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking a guard out of Penn State, so they would go offensive line as opposed to going quarterback with Ty Simpson. Of course, lots can happen.
And Shay, also, let me say one thing real quick.
Yes?
Yeah, well, real quick, where I could compare Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan with Fernando Mendoza. Ty Simpson, to me, is a faster, more athletic Mac Jones. So that's in the context that I see it, as opposed to Dan, who thinks Simpson's better than Mendoza.
Okay. Mac Jones coming off a great year, obviously, with the 49ers. All right, Mel, we appreciate it. I'm sure we'll hear lots from you in the coming days leading up to next week's NFL Draft. See you later, buddy.
Yes, we will.
Coming up here on First Take, we're going to pick tonight's playing game.